Oh, hey guys, it's Erin Wathen. I'm coming at you live today for the Hampton Hideaway crew because my Facebook Live to them was not working, and I just wanted to talk to everyone about my story since I had to go big on my page. So, hold on one second. Let me make sure this is not Ashley. Oh gosh, it's one of those days, isn't it? If anyone can see this, can you write something? All right, people are on it. All right, cool. Hey, Lisa. Tracy. Not a good technical day now, is it? I'm gonna give Ashley a minute since it's her show. So the plan was for me to go on Ashley's site and talk about my book and my story and how I got here, all that kind of thing. So I'm going on my site and I'll do the same thing. So I wrote a book called Why Can't I Stick to My Diet? It came out in November. And the main part of the book, or the thesis of the book, if you want to say, is why can't we stick to our diets? Which is sort of a simplistic. Okay, good. Ashley's here. Okay. Which is a simplistic question to a very complicated answer, complicated situation of why are we dieting and why does it never work? And the reason it never really works is because we're always looking for the short-term fix. We're always looking for why or how can we lose 15 pounds without going deep? Why can we lose 15 pounds as quickly as possible with the trend diet of the month, the week? You know, pick your favorite trend over the past 20 years. Was it keto? Was it paleo? Was it points? Was it cabbage soup diet? I don't know, pick one. And all of those are very kind of like moving around pieces, not going in the foundation of why we gain weight, why we hate Ashley. Oh, yay, Ashley's here. Okay. So why do we gain weight? Why are we emotionally attached to food in the first place? Because even if we do lose weight, which at a certain point it's more science than anything else, if we don't address why we go to food when we're not supposed to, why we go to food when we're not hungry, why we go to food when we're sad or mad or anything other than truly trying to fuel our day, we're pretty much destined to gain it back because it's those emotional attachments which make it next to impossible for us to truly lose it for good. We all have those people in our lives that gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. And it's the same, 20, 30, 40, 100 pounds, whatever it is. That's because they've never really gotten to that foundational work, as I call it, of why are we going to food when we're not hungry? What is that about? And what I've figured out that it's about for me and for a lot of my clients is, are you willing to be uncomfortable for about 20 minutes? Hear me out. So when something bad happens, you get your Facebook Live won't work, for instance. You get a really intense feeling. You don't like it, right? Things aren't going well according to plan or whatever it is. And you want it to go away, or you want to distract from it, or you just don't like it. And if your familiar wear pattern in your brain and in your body from years and years of conditioning is, I go to food because I don't like this feeling. So I'm going to go distract myself with food, sugar, whatever the heck is in the food as well. But if I sit with this and write about it or call a friend or knit or whatever your favorite distraction method is and write it out, you'll be okay. the ability and willingness to write it out versus going to food, if you're willing to do that, that's where the magic is. Because when we're not, we're like, we can't handle the discomfort, we can't handle the intense awkwardness or having this horrible feeling. So instead, we're going to go eat a bag of chips because as we've always done, then we're always going to get that again. But also maybe there's a lesson in what we're not willing to feel, because oftentimes, like with our families or anything that happens a lot, there's usually something we're avoiding. So instead we create another problem that we're okay with handling. We're okay with existing. Like, it's easier to have a weight problem, or it's easier to be worried about the weight we gained or the sugar or all this other, calories in, calories out stuff, than actually addressing the real problem, which is my mother upset me, or my husband dismissed me, or I'm upset about fill in the blank. So instead, we create a problem. This is all like really subconscious stuff. We create a problem we're okay with, which is a weight problem, or a distraction in which, oh my gosh, I ate all this food, I have to undo it. The drama goes on and on and on and on. So the issue, which is, your mother, isn't addressed. Instead, it's all about undoing what you ate. So why can't I stick to my diet is because we're on diets. We don't ever have this long-term approach to, let's get to the foundation, or let's just get to the studs of what gets us here. Why are we needing to lose weight in the first place? Why do we eat out of emotion? And of course, we all do a little bit of it, like there's birthday cakes and Christmas foods like that. But as far as when we're upset or anything that's like extreme reactions that involve food, that needs to be addressed, or else we're pretty much destined to gain the weight back. Because if we don't fix those habits, we're just, restricting calories for the most part, which is why so many people gain and lose, because eventually the novelty of the weight loss goes away, and then next thing you know, their body adapts. They need to eat less calories. They don't always want to do it. And then there's always this fallacy about exercise, which everyone thinks, I need to exercise more, and at a certain point you don't have any more time in your day. I love exercise. I exercise all the time. But it's not the end-all be-all. We grew up with it, thinking it was. Because when I was a kid, it was like diet and exercise. Exercise is fabulous. Do it for a lot of reasons. But it's not the best tool in the world for pure weight loss. But so many of us think I gained weight because I couldn't exercise for 2 weeks or whatever. That's not really true. You gained weight, period. So until we really own what happened, it's really hard to truly move on from it. So in my book, I address a lot of the emotional issues. I also address a lot about the science behind sugar and why I'm a strong advocate for everyone to pretty much get off of it. Sorry, I had a delay there. Now I'm starting to panic. Why I'm such an advocate for everyone to get off of it, especially the high fructose corn syrup. There's such a science-based reason for it. In a nutshell, it just makes us nuts. And you won't really know it until you're completely off of it, which takes a couple of months, quite frankly. The sugar we have now, especially like high fructose corn syrup, which is in, licorice or soda or a lot of mass market ketchup, those sort of items, is modified to be as addictive as possible. It also hits your bloodstream so much quicker than regular sugar, which is why, if you ever notice with kids how they react to it. So with high fructose corn syrup, it is more addictive than regular sugar on purpose. And it's so much cheaper to make than sugar. So that's why a lot of the soda is so cheap. So when I talk about cutting out sugar, the first thing I always recommend is soda, because it can be such a slippery slope, because the more sugar we eat, the more sugar we crave. So the moderation concept can get really confusing when it comes to sugar, because if you've ever thought about kids the day after Halloween, they're disasters. It's like they're hungover, like the Walking Dead, right? They're walkers because their blood sugar's all over the place. They're awful. Well, they just had all that sugar in a short period of time. They don't weigh that much. And their body's basically going through withdrawal because they want more of it. And they were like, here, have an apple, and, and a peanut butter jelly sandwich or whatever, something quote unquote normal. And they're like, wait, we want sweet tarts. We want a Snickers bar, because they're jonesing for their sugar again. So it's a very cyclical thing, unless we just take it away, quite frankly. So the moderation idea with that is really processed, candies, things you find like at a drugstore, really hard to get away from. Hey guys, so it's one of those concepts when people say, well, what's the best candy bar to eat? I always say something like, an organic something that has fat and protein in it to slow down the absorption rate, because at least then your body has a fighting chance with your blood sugar. So when we're talking about like having some sort of a treat, the best way to go is, first of all, not very often, always with a meal, not just by itself. Ideally around lunch, because then it's not the end of the day, so you're not getting the whole night eating concept. But with sugar and fat, with fat and protein, so your blood sugar does not get really crazy. So have a little bit of it and just kind of really work on not thinking every meal needs to end with dessert, and moving towards a lifestyle where food is just what you need to fuel your day. It's not the 3 high points of your day, which is a hard mindset to change, because so many of us grew up with like, well, what's for dinner? Well, what are we eating? People tell you their vacations and they tell you what they ate. Well, it should really be like, what did you see? What did you do? What did you experience? And they tell you about what they ate. It's totally common, right? So that's a lot of my book is about. I talk a lot about, my own story, because for a long time, all I did was drink Diet Coke and eat gummy bears for years and years. It didn't work out very well. It's actually a giant mess. And I didn't even realize it because everybody thought it was cute, right? Because I was, thin. Yeah, I was thin, as thin as, I guess, I don't know, whatever. But I was constantly trying to fight off sugar withdrawals and Diet Coke withdrawals. And it was this huge cycle I was always on, because I would wake up in the morning and have, NutraSweet all day, and then Diet Coke and sugar and Diet Coke. I wasn't actually having any nutrients, and it became very messy with my mood and my skin, and it wasn't working. And I never understood why I didn't look thinner, quite frankly, until I got into the nutrition part of, wait, I'm eating nothing but high caloric junk. Yeah, it's Diet Coke, but I didn't really understand how bad artificial sweetener was for me. I didn't really understand how horrible, bags and bags. I mean, I know it sounds naive sort of now, but I knew it wasn't, a good idea, but it wasn't something I thought was a true addiction until I got into the science of it all, when I became a food addiction counselor. And I understood, wait, most of the world understands you can be addicted to sugar. Americans, not so much. They're sort of kind of not that down with the concept. When I bring it up, they kind of don't like talking about it. In fact, they're like, be quiet, which happens. But it is, a true addiction you can have to sugar. Yet an 8-year-old can go buy sugar at Walgreens, give them $20 and go get a whole bunch of it. You can eat sugar walking down the street. Nothing will happen to you. No one will think twice of it. And yet it's 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And I've seen all the really funky videos, or they show you the rats that are addicted and stuff like that, which are really depressing. But it's true. And there's even these really crazy ones, like the rats addicted to cocaine. Then they get them addicted to sugar. And then their most favorite thing is high fructose corn syrup. So in the, a pecking order of drugs, their most favorite thing of all, pretty much soda, which is insane. Again, an 8-year-old can buy it. And it's really cheap, really cheap. So when I was writing my book, I was trying to write a book that I would have wanted to read when I was trying to make sense of it all. Because I just knew there was a better way to live, but I really didn't know where to start. So the concept of the title, Why Can't I Stick to My Diet, is a common frustration so many of us have had, because we're nice people, right? We say please and thank you, and we're kind and generous and all that good stuff. And we have the best intentions of the world, but when push comes to shove, we lose some weight and then we fall off, or we end up really frustrated, or just, or we feel like we're always on a diet. And I wanted it to stop. I used to call it like the white noise in the back of my mind, because it was like a white noise machine where all I ever thought of was like, how much should I eat, and can I be skinny by Friday? How many calories is in that? How much do I weigh? Like all this constant just the whole time, like my entire life. I can look at any picture of myself or any time in my life and tell you how much I weighed. Like really? Like how much long-term storage of my brain is taken up by this stuff? I could have learned a second language, or heck, a third. My Spanish isn't that great. So I could have really learned Spanish. Instead, I was memorizing how many calories are in things. And I could tell you how much I weighed in my high school graduation. No, I was spending all this time wasting on obsessing about food and stuff like that, when I could have been being productive. But a lot of people do it, so it's not coming out of a bad place. It's fairly common. So if anyone has any questions, now is a really good time to let me know. This is just sort of a general all about me thing for the Hampton Hideaway ladies. Everyone else, hello. I know there were some questions about yogurt I wanted to address. So with yogurt, my recommendation is not eat anything with anything sugary added to it. And be very aware that with sugar and yogurt, the funkier it is, the more likely it's pretty much dessert. So if you're going to have yogurt, I'm lactose intolerant, so it's not really an option for me. I stay away from it, but go with the best quality yogurt you can find. And if you've been having the super sugary, weird blue colored Yoplait for years and years, if you go to, the organic Greek stuff, it's going to taste weird to you right away. I mean, totally will. That doesn't mean it's the wrong direction for you to go in. Just be prepared that it's going to taste differently. There's a couple of schools of thought on that. There's one that says to taper, maybe have mild, go halfway and have a lesser sugary weird one, and then go for the full Monty of the organic non-sugary one. I say just go for it, and because it just rip the Band-Aid off, because the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you want, right? Even if it's in yogurt. And so Denise says, are any types of sugar good? I try to avoid all of them other than fruit, because there's naturally occurring sugar. So as far as, let me shut the door so my dog doesn't burst in. Hold on a second, guys. So as far as sugars, any type being good, I mean, berries are good. I would still be very careful with portion control because it's really easy to eat a ton of fruit and not realize you jacked your blood sugar. There is a lot of substitution talk out there. I even addressed it before, where people like to cook with stevia, like to cook with this like monk fruit stuff. The problem with that is you're still in the world where you're eating a lot of cookies and breads and that kind of a thing, where I recommend just finding new stuff to eat, but that can be a really tall order for kids. So I don't really make my kids, like my son's birthday was the other day. He had cake, I didn't eat any. So if you're talking about sugar for them, I totally get it. Like, but for grown-ups, you understand what's really going on. So as far as sugar being good, I would just try to eat the least amount possible. But if you have to have sugar, like just worst case scenario kind of thing, I would probably have to say like a turbinado sugar versus high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweetener. So organic, and be very, very aware of how much you're having. Jessica, is it high fructose corn syrup or all the sugars you don't eat? I don't eat any of them. All right. Denise, is decaf safe to drink? Decaf tea, yeah, of course. Just but with the packaged teas sometimes, it's kind of weird. Like some of the Starbucks ones are really sweet. And if you find yourself feeling like you want something really sweet afterwards, there might be a little bit of sweetener in them. It's a weird one. Anyone else has any questions? I'd love to answer them. Always happy to help you. Something that's been coming up a lot for my clients, and it's very common this time of year, because it's been about 7 weeks since New Year's, is the resolutions have fallen off. This is a very common time for everyone to sort of be over their New Year's resolutions. 80% of them are usually done by now. And there's something crazy, like 8% of them actually take, just because of, human nature. And because what I mentioned earlier, like we didn't really change the foundation of how we thought about food. We were just on some sort of a food plan, right? We were just on a diet. So if that happened to you, that's okay. It happens, but just be aware that, you can just do it again, but have a different mindset, because your mindset's really key in the whole thing. It's very easy to get discouraged and think that it's all about, you did something wrong. It's not even do anything wrong. You just went into it with a different intention. All right, Ashley doesn't like water. What should you do to increase my water intake? This was not on purpose. Ashley is not a ringer at all. So these water bottle people contacted me a couple weeks ago, and they asked me to endorse this water bottle. I swear this was not planned. I don't know if this would help you, Ashley, but they want you, this has these little like metrics things. So like to know how much water to drink by 8, by 10, by 12, by 2, then you flip it around. I drink tons of water. I've always been like a huge water drinker, so it's not an issue for me at all. But I know I'm weird like that. So as far as water, if you don't like it, Ashley's like, it's totally true. I don't like it. Haha. Then start small, like, add lemon to it, be patient with yourself. Let me know what you do like. Do you like anything? I mean, start to make it taste better. All right, cool. Add lemon to it, add, a little bit of lime, find a way to make it, that infused, the fruit that's infused, it's really cool. Like in spas, have slices of cucumbers and stuff. But also, if you don't like it right away, then just be aware that like, it might take me a while to ramp up my water intake, and that's all right. Don't feel like you have to go from 0 to 60 in one day because I happen to like drinking water. It happens. Yeah, and the thing is too about like tea, just be aware with tea of like the sugar content. Like when my grandmother grew up in the South, and I remember making tea with her, and it was like 1/3 sugar, tea, sugar. I mean, it was like dessert. It was fabulous. All right. Jessica, artificial sweetener, do you use any at all? I do not. Connection keeps glitching up. Joy, Ashley. I lost. Hey, Colby, what's up? So with water, just as much as you can. You know, tea's great. I drink a lot of seltzer. Like, I'm not the best when it comes to ways to make people drink water because I've always enjoyed it, you know, a lot. But also, like I said, if you grew up with a lot of sweet tea, just be more mindful. You know, start cutting it with more water and just work towards drinking less of it. If it's just the concept of cutting it out completely blows your mind, that's okay. A lot of things blow my mind, but just work towards it, especially because it's sweet tea in the South. I mean, it's a cultural thing, right? So add a little more water to it, dilute it. If that doesn't make your skin crawl, you know, work up towards it. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm here for you. Let me know. I don't know what sun drop is, Jessica. I live in the Northeast. Can you explain it to me? What I have been getting a lot of questions about is the keto diet, which for those of you that aren't familiar, is it's a high protein, low carb diet taken to the extreme, which has almost zero carbohydrates, like 20 grams or less. 20 grams of carbohydrates is like a stick of broccoli, like a stalk of broccoli. The problem with the keto diet, you see amazing pictures on, you know, Pinterest and stuff, huge weight losses, is there aren't any long-term studies. There aren't any long-term studies on the keto diet. So when people tell me it's great, it's fabulous, I says, great, but I can't give you an honest answer because I'm all about the science. So I don't really know long-term if it's good. You know, the science part of me thinks zero fiber, not good. Gastrointestinally, keep things moving, if you get my drift. Also, all that protein and fat, you're going to end up feeling kind of weird. Have absolutely no vegetables. I don't like the idea of it. But, you know, if there's any long-term studies, I'm happy to, you know, revisit it. Okay. I think it's a type of citrus soda. So my guess is it's full of a lot of artificial sweeteners. Look in the side, look in the back of it. If you want to take a picture of it and just IM it to me, I'm happy to look at it. Jessica, Jackie, Polar makes 100% natural seltzer. Yeah, I drink that all the time. I've like our entire garage is full of Poland Spring. Aaron, yeah, I do add tons and tons of ice. Yeah, I love a good ice machine. It's like my favorite thing, like the snow cone machine kind of ice. If anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I don't want to take up your whole night. I don't know what goes on TV tonight. I have no idea. But let me know if you have any questions. Any of the Hampton Hideaway people, especially. Another common question I get a lot is about your kids. Like, what's the most important thing with your kids? All right. Sorry, Jessica. Has corn syrup. Yeah. Let you know my thoughts. With our kids, we really have to pick our battles big time, because if everything is a battle, then nothing's a battle. Just be very aware of the sugar, because that can really affect their ability to learn, their ability to, you know, concentrate, you know, sleep, everything under the sun. So the less packaged foods possible, the less fast food. It can also cause an inflammatory response. So the less amount of food from this middle of the grocery store, the better. The less processed, the better, you know. And I know it's so hard sometimes because our kids leave the house, right? And then they go to their friend's house, or they watch commercials and all those other crazy things. And we have to let them leave the house. You know, they're going to like eventually go places. But do we want to make Oreos the biggest deal in the world? That can backfire. My mother never let me eat anything sugary when I was a kid. That did not end well for me, right? And when I was a kid, we never ever got to have sugary cereal. It was like this forbidden thing. So my freshman year of college, every single morning I would eat Crunch Berry cereal. It's like this Captain Crunch thing. Totally disgusting. I mean, I had to get out of my system, I guess. But sometimes when we make certain things too big of a deal, our kids are like fascinated by them, or they go to their friend's house and just do nothing but eat them. So I hope this helps. If anyone has any questions, I'm so available to answer your IMs or get a phone call with you or anything. Ashley, this was great. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not the best person when it comes to, Facebook router things. Thanks, Ashley. And thank you all, everybody else. This was very spontaneous, as it was supposed to be for Ashley's people, and it's for everybody else as well. Mackenzie, it's hard for me to find healthy snacks. Any suggestions? Yes. When you eat, I always want you to have 4 things. Ready? Protein, fats, carbohydrates, and fiber. So if you can find a snack that has all 4, you're golden. So for example, like hummus and carrots, 4 for 4. Also, be very aware of anything in a package. I know it's a little rocky sometimes with so many things in packages. IM me and I'll send you a list of ideas. Anyone needs anything, you have my information. I'm so available. I do have a life, I promise. That sounded strange. I have things to do. Plenty of people want to hang out with me. I'm not that available, I promise. Anyway, have a really good night, you guys. This was fun. I've never just winged my own Facebook Live before. I mean, I have with other people. I've done like co-hosting ones. I do a video every day, but I can usually erase it if I don't like it. But as far as just deciding 10 minutes beforehand, I'm going to do my own. The things I do for Ashley, right? Okay. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon. I'm hitting end.